The Life Talk Show is about testimonies where you can listen to be inspired, encouraged, uplifted, and entertained. It's the life. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me, the host, Ashley Cotton, and also with my guest, Inell, on the Live Talk Show. For those who are new to watching the show and you're tuning in for the first time, whether you're a friend of Inell or whether you just happen to come across this, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us this morning and taking a little time out of your day. This show is about testimonies. I invite different walks of life from different backgrounds, wherever you may be from, and to really just come on and to highlight and share something that has a significance within your life that God has done. It's based off of Revelations 12:11, and we overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of our testimony. And we know that testimony simply means that he will do it again, because as we're going through life and we're going through challenges, difficulties, whether that's, our mountain experience, our valleys, deserts, whatever, that he is in the midst of that. And we know that trials and tribulations come to make us strong. And so my guest, Inell, definitely has a testimony that she would love to share. And of course, always giving God the glory for. And so without further ado, I'm going to read her bio so you all can get to know her as well. Inell Billups is the owner and CEO of Parents Advocating Love and Support Consultants, LLC, PALS Consultants, which is PALS. She is married and is the mother of 3 energetic boys. She started Parents Advocating Love and Support Consultants, LLC, because she has children with special needs and behavioral challenges, and she could not find the resources needed to help them. PALS Consultants is a parent consulting firm and is an advocate for parents and families who are dealing with special need children and the day-to-day challenges that it brings. They provide support that is individualized and geared specifically to the needs of you and your child. All services are provided in the comfort and privacy of your home. We teach you strategies and equip you with the tools needed to create consistency in your home and your children. She is an upcoming author and speaker and continues to advocate for special needs education in her community. She earned her master's degree in psychology with a concentration in child and adolescent development with Southern New Hampshire University. She worked as an early childhood educator for over 17 years and currently also provides special needs group trainings to daycare centers and churches. She continues to be an advocate for families and promotes inclusion for all by helping to bridge the gap between parents and their children's educational needs. When she is not working, she enjoys spending time with her husband and her boys. She is actively involved in her church. She enjoys helping the parents and children in her community. Let's welcome Inell Billups to the Live Talk Show. Thank you for coming on, and thank you for just being willing to share. I know that this is probably a sensitive subject matter for you because you're actually within it, and you're also providing tools and resources for those who are in it as well. And so just tell us your story, wherever you want to start from.
Well, I came from being a single parent with my son Malachi with one child, and bridging into a blended family right there is where it makes it difficult. So when you come together with another person who has a child, you got to come together and realize when you marry that person, you also marry his family and you marry the other parents as well in a way, because you have to work together for that child. So if anyone can relate to that, being a blended family is very difficult, because you may raise your children a certain way and then the other parents may do another way. Not saying their way is right and my way is right, but at the end of the day, you have to come together. So it makes it difficult when you have a child. My one son, he had a lot of behavior issues. He had a lot of he just it was just a lot for him because we went from just being me and mommy to now there's a man in our life and we're married. Oh, and now he has a child. So it was a lot of things that led to that. And for me, it was so stressful. On top of getting pregnant. So carrying a child, having another child who does have special needs, my stepson who was diagnosed with ADHD and a learning disability and executive functioning processing disorder. He has a lot of things going on. And then this other child who is just, his behavior was all over the place. He got kicked out of kindergarten. Like it was just so much going on at that time. And so God had to really work on me. He really did.
So, Inell, not to cut you off, but so you're coming to a blended family where your son doesn't have any diagnosis such as what is it, ADHD?
Yeah,
and now your stepchild, your son that you inherited, the bonus child, right?
Yeah. Yes.
He has ADHD, so he's been diagnosed with that. So you're coming into not only a blended family situation, but you're coming into a whole nother dynamic on how to deal with that. Because correct me if I'm wrong, did you have the skill set or anything or experience dealing with nothing? So you're coming into this situation totally unaware of what you need to do for that child too. So what was going through your mind, and also what did your husband say? Like, I mean, wait, let me just back up. Before you married him, where you all were dating, and I'm sure he's courting you, I mean, did you have some experience? Did you have some exposure to his son, beforehand, and know what was going on and what you were getting involved in?
So the funny thing about me and my husband, I have been divorced. I've been married before and hence single parent. So when me and my husband met, we met in 2013 in April and got married in June 2013. That was all God. Everything happened so fast, and we have been together ever since. So I had never met his son. I went on how God was bringing us together, and so I met Jason in August of 2013, and that's when him and my son met, and that's when I first met him. So I hadn't met him. I didn't know a lot of. He told me, but I didn't know because again, teaching, I never had to deal with it with teaching, believe it or not. So it was all God ordained. So we had one date and then got married, and we've been together ever since.
So was the son living with him, or was the son living with the
mom?
Wasn't.
His son was with his mom in Virginia at the time. And so it was just us visiting and getting him at the time. And then a lot of stuff started transpiring where my husband's like, well, we were dealing with a lot of stuff with the mother, and it was difficult. And we couldn't really see him as much. So long story short, we ended up having to go to court about 6 times. And God said that he needed to be with us. So he's been living with us for almost 7 years now.
Okay. And so now that you're being introduced to his son and his son is diagnosed, what's the next step? Like, what are you thinking? Like, how are you all coming together to be a support system for him? And is the attention being solely on him? What's your son's name?
Which one? Jason and Malachi?
Jason. Okay, so now your attention and everything is going towards Jason. So where does Malachi play in the blended family now that you all have, come across, I don't want to say challenge, but you all have come across this new dynamic?
So before we were going through the court thing, we didn't have Jason full time. It was still part time. So at that time, God really brought a lot of things in the forefront. So he got kicked out of kindergarten, believe it or not. My 5-year-old got kicked out of school because his behavior was bad. They literally had his stuff and told me, here, bye. We're going to put him in a different school outside of his district. And so we did that, and they had the resources. And so I was like, God, I don't know what to do. I honestly didn't know what to do. I cried. I was like, am I a horrible mom? What am I doing? It was all these emotions that I went through. And God blessed us with a therapist. This therapist, beautiful, beautiful woman, she changed my whole output and whole everything on just how to handle stuff. She worked with us as a family. She worked with Malachi. She really worked with us to help him with his behaviors and use the tools he needed to help him in the classroom and at home. And so it's funny now that he's going on 12, people look at him, they're like, Malachi? He does not have anger issue. Not because God reigned through that whole situation. So when we were able to, God let us work with Malachi first to get to work as a family, and then gradually with the court situation, Jason started kind of getting introduced. And the therapist got to meet Jason, and she was like, there's some things going on there. She said, I want him, when you have him, I want to be able to have him in therapy session and see him too. So we were able to kind of wean into it. When I tell you this woman was a godsend, she really helped us through it. I don't think I don't know what I would have done if she didn't have that. She didn't like guide us step by step through it. So then once we got Jason, she was able to work with him. In the meantime, I was like, okay, Lord, I really need to start getting more help. It was dealing with a lot with individualized education plans. I knew nothing about doing IEPs, going to the school to advocate. I knew nothing about it, absolutely nothing. So when I would go there, it was always them. It felt like they were yelling at me and my husband, telling us, you know, hey, he needs this, he needs medication. And at the time, my husband didn't want to put him on medication because he was on so much living in Virginia. So we were trying to clean his body out and do some steps and do tools to help him through it. But at one point, I thought Jason did have, I asked her, I said, you think he may be on the spectrum of autism? And she said, no, his ADHD was so heightened that it may appear to be, but he really just needs that help. So we finally, we did a lot of prayer, and we said, God, we didn't want to do medicine because of so many things people say about the medication and what it does. And as I've taken the classes.
Yeah, and it's not dealing with the symptom. It's not dealing with the root. It's just numbing it, or, you know, just pampering it for that moment in time just to relax them and calm them down. But my whole thing is that get to the root, get to the bottom line of it, so that way you can eradicate it.
And so that's what we kept doing, but we realized we had to cave. So he does take medication, but it's a very low dosage. And people think, like you said, if you do medication, that should solve it. No, you still also have to use tools and resources to help guide him through it so that he can get weaned off the medication. I've met a lot of children whose families they're not on medication anymore because they continue to use these tools. And I think that was a lot with him being at home in Virginia, that the medication was just there to just fix the problem. And it doesn't fix the problem.
Right.
It can help it a little bit, but it doesn't fix the problem. And so he is on a low dosage of medicine that he takes once every morning, Monday through Friday, but he doesn't take it on weekends. He doesn't take it when school's out. We make sure his body is still cleansed of it. But we do a lot of tools, a lot of things to help him through it. And that's the same with Malachi. We do a lot of tools and things, a lot of visuals in our home, a lot of timers, because kids with special needs and behaviors have to see this thing. You can talk all day, but if you don't have things connected with them, they're not going to get it. And so that's what we've been doing.
And so, Inell, it's like you stepping into this dynamic and God shifts some things, because what were you doing before you took on building your business, saying that there was such a need and there were no resources and there were no needs, that you took on a responsibility to say, you know what, I need to do something, not just for mine, but for the other children as well?
So what I was doing was actually working in a hospital. I worked in a hospital as a patient care assistant for about almost 20 years. I worked in emergency medicine. I worked in the neurology ICU floors. So totally not anything to do with special needs at all. Loved it. I thought for the longest time I was going to be a nurse. I was like, God, this is where I need to be. All the nurses like, you're going to be a great nurse. You love people. This is going to be great. And it just wasn't where God brought me. I ended up really start teaching full time in preschool and early childhood education. And I went and got my associates in early childhood in my 20s, and I fell in love ever since, and I've been doing it ever since. God has blessed me to, once Jason and Malachi, once that situation happened, God blessed me to work at a school. And we're originally from Connecticut, so working in a school where I was able to help children with special needs. And that's where I fell in love, when I was like, this God was like, this is it. This is where I need you to be. And so dealing with not having the resources, dealing with teachers, dealing with the schools, it was a lot. Getting a phone call every single day cringes me, because I'm like, when I see the school pop up, I'm like, oh my God. And I'm sure people can relate to that. It's like, oh my Lord, okay, what happened now? God really led me to finish school. And it was a lot for me, because I couldn't finish school due to the fact that I did get married. I had a baby. We had this, financial this. I could not finish school. And so me and my husband, we prayed about it, and God led us back down south. So we ended up moving back down south 4 years ago. And when I tell you we did that, God just opened so many doors. I actually finished school, got my master's, and I've been doing it ever since. I've been giving tools, I've been helping. And it started with me just kind of helping parents online and helping some of the parents just helping them out. Then God blessed me to work for a job. I do have a 9 to 5 working for a wonderful, I love working there because I get to help teachers with children with special needs, and we get to promote inclusion, and we get to provide those tools for them. And so God brought me there. And the more that he brought me there, he brought me where I met a lot of parents too, who was just like, well, we don't know what to do. So not only were we kind of helping these teachers, we kind of would just give some things to teachers to give to the parents to do at home. That's where I realized a few years ago that there's such a gap between education, because parents don't know the tools they need to use at home, but yet we're providing it for the teachers. So my goal was like, you know what, why don't we provide the same tools we do for the teachers for the parents? So that way, the first option is not always medication. But yes, use some behavior therapy, use some of these tools to help you. That's where it has to be. And I had to learn that. We can't be against the teachers. We got to work with the teachers as parents, because at the end of the day, it's about that child. And we have to come together. And so that's what made the big difference for me. Stop looking at the teachers, because they kept coming at me, and I felt so beat down. I felt beat down. I really
I'm
did.
sure.
And I cried, it hurt. It was horrible. But God was like, no. He said, we're going to have to change this. We have to work with these teachers. So I've been blessed to be able to work with the school that he's at now, be able to work with the teachers. They call me every day. They call my husband, they email. Actually, just yesterday, I talked to the special education teacher, and I was able to give him some tools and things to bring that we use at home to help at school. So when I've learned with children, if you're consistent, it makes the biggest difference. So if you're consistent at home, you let those teachers know what you're doing. Communicate with those teachers. And we try to tell the teachers, communicate with the parents. A lot of parents don't want to, or teachers don't want to rock the boat. You know what I mean? They don't want to talk if they notice something's wrong with their child. But for me, I know something's wrong with my children, so I want to help them. And you want that. I would want a teacher to tell me, okay, look, this is what's happening. This is how I want, what can we do to help him or her? And so it just makes a big difference. And so that's the reason why I started my business, because I want us as parents, families, and when I say parents, that could be an aunt, a grandparent, because everybody are their caregivers. If there's so many aunts who are now taking on children, so many grandparents, so many godparents. So those are parents. If you're a caregiver and you have a child in your custody full time, you are a parent. And so my goal is to just help you. And yes, I'm living it. I'm still going through it, but all the tools that I'm using, it's working and it helps.
And what tools are you using? Because for the parents or whomever, you may know that, have autism or ADHD and on the spectrum and all those things. What tools can you give or just tell a little bit of things that you have tried that have actually worked for you?
Okay. The first tool is changing your mindset as a parent. My parents raised me. I think they did a great job, but also know that I couldn't do the same discipline methods they use with my children today. So everybody says, oh, just whip their butt or just do that and it'll work. That doesn't work for every child. You got to know your child. Right. So we have to change the way we think first. It's the self-talk strategies, change our mental strategies and not feel negative about it. And then once you change, and that's what I had to do. I had to change me. God had to work on me. I was like, God, I don't know what to do. I'm doing everything. But God's like, that's the problem. You're doing everything. You're not letting me do it. And so when I let that go and said, God, change me and remove me and put you in here, because my kids are here for a reason. I do believe it now. At the time, I didn't know, but God is showing me Jason's here with you for a reason. And so he has to be able to go to his full potential. And the only way he's going to do that is if I can change you so that you can get to your full potential. And so God worked on that and he changed my heart and my spirit. And once I did that, I started speaking into him, speaking to your children. That's the first tool. Speak everything. I have this thing. I hate this word bad. Don't call your children bad. That's just me. A lot of people they bad. They just bad. The reason why I say that is because Jason would come to me. He'd be like, Mom, I'm just bad. So when you keep telling a child they're bad, what are they going to do mentally?
They're going to program that and they're going to do what you've called them to do. Because the funny thing is a few things that you said. So I'm sitting here and I'm thinking like, oh, wow, God didn't take it away from you, because a lot of times we pray for God to take it away, remove it. I don't want to do this. I don't want to go through this. And yet he's taking it because, of course, his ways are not our ways and his thoughts are not our thoughts. And so, of course, he's not going to take it away from you. If anything, he's pruning you and he's preparing you and he's transforming you with it. Because it starts with us. It begins with us, believe it or not. And the fact that he says no, because the thing is that God has the answers.
Yes, he
God
does.
knows exactly what we need, but if we don't go to him and we don't seek him out, seek his face while
Mhm.
he can be found, then it's like we are going to handle it on our own, and we are going to be overwhelmed and
Mhm.
upset and bitter and resentful or whatever if we don't cast those cares upon him, because he does care for us. And I just find that interesting that he didn't take it away from you, but he said no, in order for you to get to your full potential. So now the thing is that what has come into our lives that he's allowed to come into our lives for us to reach our full maximum
Mhm.
potential that he wants us to be.
Exactly.
And then when I think about also your situation, Inell, that, when I think of your situation and anybody's situation and how he formed the earth, it was
Mhm.
void, it was dark, and he hovered over it with his spirit, but he did it with his words. He called those things as though they were, with evidence not seen. And the fact that you said, you speak to your child, you call those things as though they were, with evidence not seen, because on paper it says XYZ, ADHD, this, and
Exactly.
this. But when you have him in front of you, and this is for anybody, that you call those things as though they were, they
Mhm.
acting like this, speak the opposite of that.
Exactly.
Of course, you don't trip yourself up because you're dealing with reality, and you do have
Mhm.
to deal with the truth and the
Exactly.
reality of it. But I don't have to accept that reality. I can change the projection of that, because there's life and death in the power of my tongue. And
Exactly.
I have the power and the authority of Jesus Christ and what he's given me. So now I have to activate on that and do it.
Exactly.
So that's really good. That's very interesting. Inell, do you believe that this is your ministry? Because I often say that, when you're called to do the will of God, it's not necessarily being in a pulpit. It's not
Mhm.
necessarily building a building where church is being held, but everybody has a ministry. Everyone has a calling on the inside of them, whatever that may be. However, he's going to get his glory and use you the way he wants to use you as his vessel. um, is this your ministry, to not only be a witness for him, but to be a light in a dark place, such as autism and, schools and things of that nature?
Yes, I do. I believe it. I see it now. I didn't see it then. If you was to tell me 10 years ago, this is where God wants you to be, I'll tell you, my best friend in Connecticut, she always told me, you need to start your own business. I'm like, that's too much. Oh, that's too much work. I'm not doing it. And God was just like, it is. And I feel it. And it doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel, like how you
Mhm.
feel like it's like you dread going. I don't dread going. I love getting up every
Mhm.
day. And every day I get up, I say, God, you giving me another chance to do your will. So let me do it. And I
Mhm.
do believe it. And I see it more now. And God is showing me more now. He's shifting, he's moving. He's working through me and working on my children and working on us as a family. I see it in my husband. He has grown so much, and he's just a wonderful man of God. I love him. And of course I'm gonna say that because that's my husband. But I watched him, how he has been with the boys and how he has grown, the way he disciplines, the way he talks. He's learning. I ain't got to always yell. His presence, God got him, and I see that in him, and I see having Jason. I don't want to get emotional. Having Malachi, having Josiah, having my kids has changed me as a parent. You know what I mean? I came in this thing one way, I'm coming out another, and that's all God, and I thank God for that. And so that's why I tell everybody when I meet parents and I talk to them, the first tool is changing this and putting it in here and speaking over your children. Don't keep saying, oh, they're just bad. I give up. I can't do it. I don't have the time. No, you have the time. God blessed you to have these children. You got to make the time. That's the first tool. Once we get that going, then we can talk about getting you some visual schedules, getting you some timers, getting you some things to help get that routine going. Because even as us as adults, we need visuals. When you go to a restaurant and you looking at the burger, if you didn't see a picture, you're not gonna really, I can't see the burger, I
Yeah.
don't want it. But if you look at that picture, you're like, oh yeah, I want that salad or I want that burger. So think about it as children when they need visuals and they need these tools. You get tired of repeating yourself all the time. So just say, all right, I tell my kids, we got to break it down step by step. All right, it's the first thing we got to do is brush our teeth. They look at the picture, they're brushing their teeth. I come back, they look at the picture, okay, I got to wash my face. Some kids need that step by step. And as us, we think, well, if we tell them they got it, they're old enough, they know it. But no, some children don't. You have to take your time and break it down for them. And
And
I
you
had
know
to learn
what?
that.
That's interesting, because guess what? My son, he's 5 years old, and I swear, Monday through Friday, it don't change. I'd be like, son, listen, when you wake up at 7 o'clock, the first thing you do is you go to the bathroom and you brush your teeth, you wash your face, because he takes his baths and everything at night. I'm like, it don't change. Monday through Friday, it don't change. But yet I have to still, and sometimes he does get distracted. Like I'm in my room and he's in the bathroom and I don't hear no water running. And I'm like, Manny, Manasseh, like, what are you doing? I was, playing with action figures and playing with his toys. That's not what we're doing today. So the fact that you said visual, so guess what? I'm going to make a visual map for him and to say, okay, in the morning time, what we doing? We brushing teeth. Okay, next we washing the face. Next, you putting on your clothes, which I already have ironed out and prepared for him. All he have to do is just take it and put them on. And it's like, Lord, for the life of me, like, son, but the fact that you did say make visuals. Now, what about the timer? What does the timer do?
The timer helps your children stay on task. So with my children, we used to use the little flip timers, but now with my children, I use the clock. So they have clocks in their room. So with Jason and Malachi, they get up at 5:45. I say, you guys got till 6:15. Follow the schedule. This is what you got. 6:15, this is where it should be done. That helps them stay on task if you use a timer, because some children don't have that perception of time. Just like you said with your son, you thinking he doing what he's supposed to do, you in the room, but you don't hear nothing. You put a timer, is like, okay, I got to brush my teeth, but I got this much time to brush my teeth. Okay, let me get that done. Oh, the timer's out. What's the next thing? Timer kind of goes with that schedule and it helps them. It makes because it gets you not to be frustrated. I'm telling you,
yes,
every morning I'm like, oh my goodness, what are y'all? We do the same task every morning. Every morning. It hasn't changed, but I had to learn that. And then God graced me to be able to help these teachers. So I'm like, if we're telling the teachers that, maybe the parents don't know that. And I've learned that some of the parents don't know, especially in our culture, they don't know these simple things that can help. You know what I mean? And so that's my job, to go in and tell you that this has worked. I'm not telling you because it's something I learned in school. This is something I live and we do every single day, and it works. But it goes back to you changing the way you're going to have to just put a little bit extra oomph into your mornings. So in the mornings, I be wanting to sleep, but I make sure I get up even a little extra early to get my prayer time in, to make sure I do this and get that and get myself together. So I'm there to be able to be with that child, and I have to just do that, because I was just getting up right on time, getting them going. I would go to I had that's work from my house. I had to get up early to get myself ready first. Then me and my husband have to literally sit there. We sit in the family room and we just kind of watch all three. All right, guys, you still kind of got to guide them, but we don't have to do it as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They need to know we're there and we're helping them through it. But I deal with a lot of parents too that they're like, I don't have the time. I'm working and I'm working too, but you just got to do it. God did not put this on you because he said you couldn't do it. He knows you can, but we have to do it. And if you don't put, and that's my biggest thing. If you don't put God first, it's not going to work. That's why I tell people the first tool is changing this and changing this and asking God to really work on you, because it's not going to work. If you think you can do it yourself, you cannot.
What have been some of your challenges, like the very thing that you had to challenge where you was just at the end of your rope and God just came in with his grace and just really comfort you? And then also, what was a major victory in the midst of all of this, everything?
It's so funny you said, because one of the challenges right now is they're going to grow. Your children are going to grow and they're going to hit a different milestone. And so now I have a soon to be 13-year-old and a soon to be 12-year-old. So I have a teenager and a teenager. So now they're hitting different milestones. They're boys, and I swear boys PMS too. I don't care what anybody says. They have their little attitudes. And so that's where we're at. And so now it has to make me have to change the way I parent. So now I was doing this way at a certain amount of time. Now I'm learning, okay, nope, I can't do this same thing anymore. Now I have to change the way I parent. I got to change what I'm doing. And so that's been the challenge. Each and every step, each and every milestone, you're going to have to change it. You're not going to be able to use the same tools now. So now we're going to have to change a little bit because they're older. And so dealing with that has been a challenge for me and us as a family, because we do one thing at home, but the school is different. It's a different atmosphere. And so he has a lot more kids that he's around. My kid, it's just different. The teachers, they have a lot of kids, and God bless the teachers. They are doing it. It's been this pandemic, they are doing it. And so it makes it hard to really say, okay, I got to concentrate on this one child when I have 20 other kids I got to concentrate on. So my children, they are not virtual. They are actually in school. We live in a small town, so they've been in school since August. So that's the challenge, trying to bridge that gap. And so that's what we're doing now. And so the victory that I see in that is that he has amazing teachers and amazing staff, and they have been open to the things I've said. I've been open to what they said, and we've come together. That makes the biggest difference for your child. When they see, because they, Jason think, oh yeah, she ain't talking to my teachers. Oh, they talk. They will call me. They'll let us know what's going on. And I think that's our biggest victory, is being able to finally come together as a team for that child, because that's something that was a challenge for us. I didn't have that.
Yeah.
And so now we do.
And that's a great point that you made, that with each milestone, you have to switch up the tools, because what once worked at 5 years old, 8 years old, and now they're becoming teenagers. Now you gotta strategize and put together something for them that's gonna work for the both of you all, for all parties. So that's really good. Inell, what for those who are dealing with children with special needs and having to attention, how do you make time for your spouse? Like, when you're in it, you are in it. And do you get any breaks? And because I know that most marriages fall apart, people go their own separate ways because it's so much to handle and so much to deal with. So just for the marriage part of it, how do you get it to work? How do you make it work?
God, I'm gonna tell you, we have to do it, and we don't get to. That's something we have to do it purposefully. You have to make that time on purpose. I think as moms and as dads, we get so wrapped up in moving everyday life that when the kids go to bed, we are so exhausted. But my husband and I purposely make that time, even if it's to watch one show and spend that time when the kids go to bed. And we decided this year. It's so funny you said that, because last year and the years before that, we kind of got so wrapped up with doing this for that, going soccer, going football. Okay, we need to go to this therapy session, this, that we kind of lost touch on us. So this year, me and him prayed about it. And my husband's like, we are going to make time for ourselves. Bills are always going to be there. We're always going to have to. So we've already planned a trip for our wedding anniversary. Like we are making plans. We have, and your village. I have to touch on that. Your village, that makes the biggest difference. I have blessed to have my parents, my in-laws. I have the best friends in the whole world. Even in Connecticut and down here, that are like, look, you need your time. You need your time. I just had a friend today, one of my girlfriends today from church. She said, I'm gonna need you to let me know what day I could take the boys, because you need your time, whether you and your husband. That makes the biggest difference. When you have a village to help you through that, you can do it. And that's how we're able to do it, because we got to utilize our village. And it's something I'm learning. It's okay to ask for help. Don't put your pride to the side. It's okay to ask for help. That's what your village is for. You're not taking advantage of them. Don't feel ashamed. They wouldn't be my village if they didn't have my back. You know what I mean? So take advantage of having that family and that support with your friends, because it makes the biggest difference. And for that, me and my husband are grateful.
And also, don't assume that people know what you're going through and that people should always be reaching out to you and following up. Like, don't assume that. Like, don't assume that you're just in it by yourself and nobody gets it and don't nobody know, because that's the biggest trick of the enemy too. Closed mouths don't get fed. And so listen, if I'm having a hard day and I just need a moment before I snap, if I just need something to just get me out of this, then just pick up the phone and say, hey, you know what? I'm having a really hard time. Could you help me just for an hour or so, just for some time? If you could just come over to the house and just let me get a breather. So don't ever think that people know your situation if you're not going to be open and transparent. And I'm not saying that you have to call and tell everybody, but that one person that you know that has your back, that have been checking on you to say, hey, how you doing? You need anything? Call them up and say, you know what? I do need something. And you know what? It has been difficult for me and it's hard. Don't feel like you have to carry it all on your shoulders, because you don't. And one of the things is that, even Jesus himself had to have help carrying the cross, which was Simon, a Black man who came and helped him, and so we all need someone to come help carry our cross. Don't ever think that, you can do it all on your own. And so that's a very good point, having a support system, having a village. And so moving forward, Inell, how can people get in contact with you? Because you can help anyone, right? Virtually, or if they're in state. Okay.
Yeah. I have a Facebook page, and I know that you'll probably put it down in the bio, but I have the Facebook page. It's Pals Consultants LLC. I have IG, which is it's Pals 2020. I have my email address, and I'm sure you put it down in the bio. But my email, I have a phone number you can call. And the thing with my program is, and what I do with my parents, I'm always going to be there. I'm going to be that support system. Don't ever think, oh my gosh, she had her own life and her own kids. No, I'm there to help you too. And the blessing of me having my own business is my kids are involved. They have been very supportive. Jason and Malachi are like, what can we do? Because they are the face of it. They're the ones to tell you, look, this stuff works. My mom does it. It works. So we're a family, and that's something that makes it different from a lot of parent consultant places. Is that I'm a family. I'm a family person, and I'm gonna be there with you. You're stuck with me. Once you got me, you're stuck. I'm gonna keep checking in on you. What do you need? Okay, that's not working. Let's do this. So please reach out, because even if you just need a consultant, just to ask a question and get some advice, that's what I'm here for.
And so, how has everything been going through the pandemic since they are on campus? My son is on campus too. We first started doing the virtual online, and then I was just like,
it's time to go back.
Jesus. We gonna pray Psalms 91, which is his foundation scripture from the time he was in my womb. I will pray that over him. And God has definitely kept us with that scripture. And I'm going to anoint your head with this oil, and I'm going to plead the blood of Jesus, because me trying to balance working and being an entrepreneur and self-employed. And I'm glad that I'm in a situation I am in, because I can't be hands-on with him and doing, but when I'm trying to take care of business and he in a room and it
don't work.
Look, he listen, he in the middle of the lesson, he just getting up and going to the refrigerator. And I'm like, lunch is at 12, son. But right now you got lessons. And I'm just like, when you at school, do you just get up and go to the cafeteria?
Sure don't.
And I'm just like, okay, so I'm gonna need for you to abide by them school rules. Like, right now we in school. Right now, I know it's home, but we in school right now. Exactly. And I'm just like, I know you're not eating and snacking this much in a classroom. Like, please, son, seriously. But how has it been? Like, dude, I'm sure they get and understand that they have to be masked up and everything. But how has that been? Like, are they okay with it? Was there some challenges there?
Well, definitely when you have a child who develops, typically normally, quote unquote, I hate that word too, but develops, you can just tell him and it's fine. But with Jason, I had to break it down, and we had to prep him for it. It's going well. He has a hard time with that mask because he has that sensory processing disorder where it's just like, okay, it annoys him, but we've tried different masks, and you just keep trying, and it's been working, and we keep working with him at home and always prepare him ahead of time. So we prepared him and we prepped him. And the school has been awesome about it. They have these rules that you got to follow. They've been really good about not letting people in and out. If there's been an outbreak, they are quick to let us know that this teacher or something has happened. Your children are going to have to quarantine because they were exposed. They have been really good about it. And by the grace of God, they have not gotten sick. Like you said, we keep them covered. We pray over them every day. We oil them up. We plead the blood over them. And God has been keeping all three of them. And it's been the best thing, because a child who does have those special needs does need that social interaction. He does great at home, but he also needs to learn to socialize and be around other kids. And so that it makes a big difference.
Is there any hope at all to have complete healing, like 100% complete healing, even with autism and with, whatever diagnosis that the doctors, whomever wants to give him? But we know the bottom line, the truth, because of, who we serve. But for that parent, and I want you to speak to the parents or whomever, the guardian who may be dealing with special need kids and thinking that, I just want them to be healed. I just want this to be over and done with. I just want them to be normal, but this is their flight. This is their plight. So what would you say as an encouragement for someone who's actually in it? And that's one thing that I like, is people's own testimony from their own mouths. Like, you're not just hearing hearsay, you're actually hearing it from the source of the person who's in it, who's going through it, who's overcame it.
Exactly. What I can say is your child is not going to be totally healed, because autism is a brain. It's a brain thing. It's a behavior thing as far as ADHD. So you can't be totally healed, but you can deal with it by having the help, having the tools, having the village. You can help some of the symptoms kind of reduce a little bit. But are you going to be fully 100% healed? No, because when I look at children with special needs, it's not like a not like the flu. Like, okay, they had the flu, now they're fine. It's not that. The children are going to go through it. It's just going to happen. And so you, as the parent, as the caregiver, you just can't give up on yourself, and you can't give up on your children. And just keep using those tools. Don't feel like it's a bad thing because they have autism or they are ADHD. It's not a bad word. And I think that's a lot, especially in our culture. I've noticed they think it's such a bad word because they're special education. They're going to be on the special bus. And no, that's not. We're looking at this. You got to change your mindset and look at it differently. And when you do that and just ask God to really be in the forefront of it, it makes the biggest difference. I'm telling you, because I could not do this on my own. And I could not do this on my own. Without God and the people he's blessed me in my life with, I couldn't do it. I would probably crawl in a hole somewhere and be like, that is it. I would just leave. But don't give up. Just and no, it's not going to be, Jason's not going to be fully 100% healed because he's got a lot of things he's working through. Yeah. Malachi, even though you don't see his anger as much, he knows how to deal with it because we've given him those tools to deal with. When I get upset, to walk away, sing a song, pray. And it's the same with the child who's on the spectrum of autism. You're learning how to deal with it, giving them the tools and just supporting them and getting that support because you're going to need it too. So getting that support from others. And so that's just what I say. Don't give up. And just know that you got this. You do. You got to tell when I do my lives and I do things, I always tell you're amazing and you got this. And I don't just say it for you. I'm saying it for me. I got to encourage myself too. But you can do it. Don't think it's not doable. You can. Trust me. I got 3 of them. You can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great advice, Inell. And so now we're going to switch gears because I'm about to hit you with the hot track, which is my fire rapid questions. And so they're quick and they're like fun, icebreaker questions. And so the first one is, what is your favorite verse in the Bible?
That I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I say it all the time because it helps me to remember who I am in God, that he didn't make no mistakes when he made me. So I tell that to my kids all the time.
Number 2, how do you get into the presence of the Lord?
I get up extra early, and I think I mentioned to you before, I get up extra early and I have to just do that. And I do it at night too, because I need it beginning and at night. So that's how I do it. And I take that time for just me by myself.
Number 3, what do you think heaven will be like?
It ain't gonna be like it is on earth. I think it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be beautiful. And I strive every day and pray to God that he doesn't look at me and be like, be gone. Because that's something I pray that God, every day I get up, I do your will and your way.
Number 4, who would you like to meet in heaven? It could be from the Old Testament or New Testament.
I want to meet Jesus. I want to be all in his presence. That's that's what I want to meet.
And number 5, given the opportunity in a quiet, intimate setting and God manifests himself to you face to face, what would you say to him? What would that conversation be like?
I'm an emotional person. I probably would break down and cry and just praise him. I don't think I would have any words to say. I would just be so honored and blessed that he even thought it was okay to grace in my presence. Like I would be just grateful in worship.
Yeah. And the bonus question, last question, with all that you have endured that don't nobody know except for you and God, and all the things that may come that you don't know about in the future, with everything said and done, do you regret having a relationship with him? And will you continue moving forward no matter what, still be in a relationship with him?
I do not regret it at all. It was the best thing I could have ever done in my life. And I thank God for my parents introducing him to me and bringing me to church at 12. I think it's the best thing I could have ever done. And I will continue because I like I said before, I cannot do this without him. I can't. I'm getting emotional because I know I can't. I give him all the grace, the honor, the glory, because I just thank God because the things I've been through, I should have been dead. I should have been dead. And I thank God that I'm here. So I'm going to keep doing what he asked me to do, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here.
Any final thoughts, any words that you want to say to your audience before we end?
Thank y'all so much for listening. Please, if you have any questions you want to reach out, please feel free. I'm very open. I'm there to help you, support you. And just remember, you got this. Please don't give up. And know that God got you too. You're not alone.
I want to say Thank you so much to my guest, Inell, for coming on and sharing her heart and just giving us a peek into what her life is like and what it's been like with special needs children. I know that there are parents who are probably going through and have gone through, and I hope and pray that this ministers to you. I hope and pray that this blesses you, that just because your story is not quite like her story, because everyone's story is unique, and whatever God wants to do, however he wants to get to glory, I pray for grace and mercy to be upon you. And also, I just want to say thank you so much for the viewership, for bearing fruit, for Humblebee and Candace Dorsey for watching and rocking with us, and for whomever else that may be watching this. I don't see your name, but I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, next Saturday, actually this Saturday, I'll have a new guest with a new testimony. And so, I thank you for liking this, sharing this, subscribing to the YouTube channel, also following on Facebook. And so I just really want to encourage the masses, encourage anyone that, you know what? Life happens and we're not exempt from life, and we don't know what the cards that we have that will be dealt to us. And so we just try to do the very best that we can do with what we have, and each day waking up, because it says that a righteous man falls down 7 times, but he gets back up. And so get back up. Don't throw in the towel. Whatever it is that you may be going through, there's prayer. You can always go to him. And even if there's some things that you just can't say or verbally express, then worship. And so with that said, thank you so much for watching. I pray that this blesses you, and you all take care, be safe, and just move in wisdom and be led by God in all that you do. Take care.